Another week, another loss that can be blamed on coaching.
Why does Bubba Ventrone still have his job?
Why do any of them have their job? We're, of course, talking Browns today. They got walloped by the San Francisco 49ers. Wallop's the best word I can use because honestly, they were in that game, but the decisiveness came down to things like special teams, in which the Browns did not capitalize. In fact, they looked terrible.
They did look terrible indeed. I put the box score up. There's not much to see on either side of the ball. The Browns defense did a good job of keeping the 49ers at bay as much as they could, minus some third down red zone, lack of stops for lack of a better term. But overall, this game went how we thought this game could go. And we just proceeded to beat ourselves once again. And it comes down to special teams. It comes down to coaching mistakes. It comes down to the lack of adjustments in the second half. The offense looked fine in the first half. The second half, they came out and they looked stagnant. It looked like one team that adjusted, the other team did not. Of course, talking about the 49ers adjusting and the Browns just not. It's the same story we see week in and week out with this team that continues to frustrate us as fans.
Well, I want to talk about the positives real quick because there's really two that I can see, maybe three. The first is that Shedeur Sanders looks pretty good. We'll dive into it more deeply, of course, but that one play that Dylan Gabriel came in and ran makes you go, "Whew, I'm glad Shedeur's not injured for real." That's one benefit or positive, I guess. The second is that Miles Garrett did get a sack today. That's pretty cool. He's at number 19. You were at the game, so you didn't see the broadcast. He has his wrist taped up, and he has number 25 written on it. So that is his goal for the season. But he is on pace for like 28, 29 right now. So that's
Yes, he is.
incredible. Defense overall looked pretty solid, Noah. It's the same old tale week after week, though. They were put in positions to lose often. Turning the ball over at their own 30, for example, on special teams, et cetera, et cetera. As soon as they got off the field, the 49ers then have the ball again. I mean, like, I don't know what you expect from this defensive unit, but overall, I was pretty happy with how they played.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. You mentioned the Dylan Gabriel snap that we saw. Did you hear the crowd reaction on TV like I heard in the stadium?
No, a lot of booze, I assume.
It was automatic boos when he ran on the field and automatic cheers when Shador went out there to sub him back out and put himself back in the game. It was interesting. It was deafening, really was the best word to say because it was loud in my opinion. I was lower bowl, so maybe I was hearing it from top down and that's why it wasn't picked up on the mics at home, but there were automatic boos, automatic cheers when it came to Shador and Dylan Gabriel. And it's interesting to me because of what Shador said in his presser when he came in after Dylan got hurt in the Ravens game 2 weeks ago about let Dylan do his thing when he's out there, let me do my thing when I'm out there. Uh, that didn't happen. The crowd did not listen to 12 on that one. They booed Dylan's ass and cheered Shador's ass.
I'll say this, I don't think Dylan Gabriel has a place on this team any longer. I just don't know how it'd be tenable to keep him even as a backup because fans have moved on. I know it's Stefanski's darling, we joke about because it seems to be. But there's no way like you could play him or you could sub him or whatever. You see the reaction now. I think they're gonna have to move on from him sooner than later. But the one play that he did run, he shows us exactly what we're lacking. I did find it interesting though. He comes in, runs a play. It's an automatic pass play. Was that a Kevin Stefanski, hey, if you throw it down the field, maybe you'll get another play and we'll kind of snowball this thing? Or how'd you take that?
Yeah, I don't take it any sort of way. Shador comes out, he goes back in automatically after that last play, and especially with the fact that Stefanski already named Shador the starter next week too. I don't think it is one of those read between the lines situations. As much as people are probably going to read between the lines on anything and everything with this Cleveland Browns team, because that's just the nature of what we have going on at this point of the season, with all the drama, with all the off the field antics that aren't really off the field antics, but you know what I mean. Just the over analyzing of what's going on in Berea at this point, because the Browns are yet again to have another losing season.
By the way, speaking of off the field things, I don't know if it's just because of the personality or because he brings us something different, he meaning Shedeur Sanders. But seeing all the videos during Thanksgiving of him at home joking around with his family, Shiloh saying like, "Hey, please," doing his prayer before the meal and saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, please do well so you could bring me onto the team," and then like joking back and forth. I love seeing those things, and maybe it's because we rarely get a glimpse behind the scenes like that. But I gotta say it's a lot of fun, and maybe he's not the franchise guy. I'm not gonna be able to say that yet. But he certainly brings the personality and the attitude that I want for a franchise guy.
He does. It's fun to be able to see some of the stuff that really we've been able to get a glimpse into since his time in Colorado. I mean, this type of vlogging material, he's had his own podcast before where he's done coverage. Latest episode was actually during training camp. I listened to that the other day. I didn't even realize it was a thing, but you can really get behind the scenes with the Sanders family. I almost said the Shador family, which I guess the shoe still fits, but the Sanders family sounds better.
Dion's still
Uh,
king, baby. Let's
Dion
not
is
take that crown away just yet.
not yet, indeed. Let's talk a little bit more about Chador. Obviously, we'll do another film breakdown as the week continues to move on and whatnot. But what you saw out of him in this game with the naked eye, I guess, with the first watch, without rewatching the game, without watching the all 22, what did you think of Shador in this game? Because I thought it was some of the same story, honestly. Some good, some bad, some ugly, and still a want to see more at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, was he great in this game? No, certainly not. Was he decent and serviceable? Yes, he did have nearly double the QBR this week. Um, which again, something we talked about, see our previous episode of why it's such a dumb stat line. But that said, I mean, he went 16 for 25, 149. Um, he had a 64% completion percentage, which is higher than last week. Averaged around 6 yards, which is lower than last week. He did, of course, have that one touchdown, which was beautiful, by the way. No picks, and a long ball of 34 yards. He gives us something different. The problem is we see some of the same tendencies that we've talked about, holding onto the
Yep.
ball a little too long, getting happy feet a little bit. He's done better. He doesn't drift back anymore for the most part, which is great. He did take a sack in which we saw that, unfortunately. Um, but we saw some plays where he had literally all day in the pocket, and yet he still wasn't able to find a man. And I think that speaks to our receivers more than anything on display today. But then you look at film, and again, like you said, we'll break it down, and you see a guy open. He's just his reads to the right, the guy opens to the left. He's young, he's developing. That's the thing. But overall, I'm happy with how he looks.
Yeah, I I agree with everything you're saying, honestly. The biggest thing I noticed in the stadium and the biggest thing again, I haven't got to watch the broadcast version of the game yet or the all 22, but there were multiple times where a lot of the fans were screaming, "Get rid of the ball." In that exact cadence because he was holding on to the ball. And I get you're trying to look for a play downfield, but sometimes and again, I'm not criticizing yet because I haven't got to take it all in, but sometimes it's throw it away or make a move to run with the ball. And we're still not seeing that. So I want to see more from him, of course. But I also am excited for the fact that they have named him the starter already once again. And they are giving him an extended look, like Adam Schefter has mentioned earlier in the week in between our last episode and this one.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. I will say that it seems like the offense still lacks a cadence, and uh, I don't know what it is. Like, I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but it seems like we have good pieces and parts. Like, Quinshon will rip one off, you'll have a good play for Shador, but we can't seem to put it together on a sustainable drive. And I don't know why that is right now, but that's what we're lacking the most.
Yeah, and the frustration is showing on the sideline too. I don't know if you saw this clip. I mean, you probably saw the clip because you were watching the broadcast, but this was going around on the internet following the game. It's Jerry Judy yelling, honestly, at Shedeur Sanders on the sideline. This is after the first drive where Shedeur overthrows Judy a little bit, but you can argue maybe Judy should have fought for the ball a little bit more, ran a little bit more. What did you make of this whole situation? Because they are obviously bickering a little bit here.
I like this more than you probably think I do, because what this shows me is passion. What I saw from Jerry Jeudy weeks before Shedeur Sanders was starting football games was the exact opposite of this. It was apathy. So the fact that he's passionate tells me that there's a bit of a spark in that locker room. That's what excites me the most. Yeah, obviously, I don't know exactly what was being said, and sometimes words need to be kept in check. But that's what I wanna see on the sideline. It's like when you see Tom Brady going off on his teammates, not always a great thing, like, the teammates may not react to it well, but that passion's exactly what I want, so I had no issue with this whatsoever.
Yeah, I hope it's all coming from a place of good and, continued work with each other to move forward. Frustration happens in sports, especially with your teammates. I've seen it week in and week out throughout all the time I played football, throughout the time I played sports when I was younger that wasn't football. So it doesn't completely throw me off, but I understand some fan frustration because of how poor Jerry Judy's season has been and how sometimes the effort has been questioned with Jerry Judy. For him to then go over and complain to a young kid that is, trying to get the ball his way and trying to get it thing, I understand that perspective of it too. I'm not saying it's completely right, but I do understand that perspective. Um,
It's tough
Go ahead.
because Shador's on an island. It's like being a pitcher in baseball. It's very similar in that you have to make the throw. Like you are the guy. So if you're overthrowing or you're having a bad game, it all falls on your shoulders. A receiver can miss a ball, etc. Like it happens, right? But when you're the quarterback, you cannot have a bad game because if you do, you're probably losing the football game. So to be a rookie with those expectations, to be a rookie in Cleveland with those expectations, to be a rookie with the name Sanders on the back of your jersey with those expectations, I don't think we should dismiss how sky high they are. And honestly, he's holding up admirably well.
Yeah, I agree with that as well, 100%. Another big storyline in this game that I want to touch on because we alluded to it before we went into the intro is how bad the special teams were. I think that is the biggest turning point for the Browns in this game and why they lost this game. Why does Beba Ventrone have a job?
Again, I said it from the rip. I'm not sure why anybody has a job. Um, but let me be very clear when I say this, and this isn't pylon Stefanski time, but if you have a section of your team that is underperforming, then eventually that's going to fall under the head coach's purview. You saw it at Ohio State last year. The defense wasn't up to snuff, and Ryan Day went and spent time with the defense to make sure that it would. It caused friction, it caused issues, and eventually it meant the defensive coordinator departed. Didn't work out too well for him. But that's what you do as a head coach. I'm not seeing that leadership from Kevin Stefanski. So when we say it's on coaching, yes, the immediate coaching is an issue. But as a tree, I think it's an overall issue for the program. The fact that we continue to have these issues, though, like I don't even know what to say. I can people will drop balls. Like, I'm gonna excuse that one. The catching, like, completing a catch and toe tapping on the sideline to make sure the ball doesn't go out of bounds, that's insane to me. As a football player, how do you not know that you want that ball to go out of bounds? Or better yet, you can catch the ball with 1 foot out of bounds, to ensure that the penalty still comes there. Big penalty, by the way. So now you're on the 5-yard line instead of, like, the 35 or 40. How do you screw that up? Like, I don't understand. That's just poor coaching.
It is poor coaching, and that's been the biggest critique to me of Bubba Ventrone. I've been on record here on the page for since last season, really, talking about why I think he should no longer be the special teams coordinator of the Browns because of how lack of coached this special teams unit feels. I'm not talking missed kicks. Missed kicks happen. That's not on the special teams coordinator. When you are missing up assignments, when you are consistently having kicks returned on you, like we are on this special teams unit, that's on the special teams coordinator. And it has been abysmal since they've brought Beba Ventrone in. And mind you, this is our associate head coach or whatever title he has to put him basically right below Kevin Stefanski. Uh, I need his bags packed. That's where I'm at. We are at that point of the season where we can start making some statements to, at least make the locker room feel a little bit better, at least make the fan base feel a little bit better. And this is the one that I want to see like today when this video comes out. I hope the Bubba Ventrone fired news comes out right now as we're talking. That's where I'm at with him and his entire job here in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to clean house. My only exception being Jim Schwartz, but I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do those 2 things, because they seem to be opposed to one another, but to get rid of Jim Schwartz at this point, would be criminal in my opinion when you have arguably the best defense in football. Speaking of defensive coordinators for a second, I just wanna touch on San Francisco's, Robert Saleh. You didn't see the broadcast, but man, am I a hater of that man now. Like, he
Why?
was so over animated in his cheering. Like, first of all, you're playing the Cleveland Browns, calm down, like, act like you've been there before. I didn't mind him when he was the Jets coach, maybe because he was terrible, but his attitude and how he cheered, like, for a sack or whatever, just rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that's who he is in a nutshell, which is funny to me because you like the fiery coach a lot more, and that's exactly
I
who
like it when
Salah
it's on
is.
my team. I don't like it when it's on somebody else's team against
Well,
me.
he may end up being a head coaching candidate once again, and we might be in that
Maybe.
market. So maybe circle that name. I say that in jest, of course. There was another big storyline that came out, and you sent me the clip right before we actually got on the show. But I want to talk about it for a second. It revolves around Jawan Jennings, of course, the big injury we had with Collins today in the game, and I'll let it roll, and then we can react to it for a second.
Before you roll it, Noah, I just wanna say, like, I'm in our production software so I could see, like, what everything's named, and I love that this is just named Ho.
Well, that's kind of what he is. Let it roll.
He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like, I see why he got punched in the nuts, because that's some, like, he says some things that you should not say to another man ever. But like, I don't respect it because you say that, then run behind your O line. That's some real soft shit, and I want that known. I see exactly why they punched the nuts. I'm surprised nobody punched him in the jaw yet.
I love this so much. He's gonna get
Jawan
fined for it, but I love it.
Yeah, Jawan Jennings, the receiver, I don't know if they showed it on the broadcast as much as it was right in front of me. He was chirping to Miles Garrett. That was Mo Hurst that was speaking right there about while Malik Collins went down with the injury that he had where he ended up getting carted off the field. Um he apparently is a chippy one that the
That's
wide
Shelby
receiver.
Harris. You wanna
God
take that from the
fuck.
top? I'm like, "I don't think that's Mo Hurst." We could take that from the top. By the way,
Shelby
just because you keep doing it tonight, just remember frustrating has an R.
Shelby frustrating. I'm trying to get through this with my fucking
No, no, you're all good. I'm just trying
leftover
to help you
cold.
out. I know I can hear it
Shelby
bad.
Harris and Malik Collins went down.
Yeah.
I'm just writing it down so I can reference it if I start stumbling over myself. This was, of course, about Jawan Jennings, receiver for the 49ers. Shelby Harris was the one speaking. Malik Collins, the D tackle who was leading the league in sacks. I don't know what that statistic looks like now, but he was leading the league in sacks for defensive tackle, went down. I don't know what it looked like on the TV side, but he was chirping everyone, Jawan. I'm talking about Miles Garrett and all of that. And then the ref would come over and he would literally go run behind his offensive line. It was like, what are we doing? It was very childish. What is your reaction to everything?
I didn't notice it, I didn't notice it on the live broadcast, like you said. My reaction is that, yeah, there are things that you do and things that you say and things that you don't say. These are professionals at the end of the day. And I think we tend to forget that because they're playing a game that sometimes we associate with being a game of boys, right? But that's not the case. These are professional athletes that they do this for a living. And we don't always see that side of things. So, Shelby Harris was referring to him being hit in the nether region last week, by the way, not during this game, and basically saying that I see why now, like he deserves it. It reminds me of Ndamukong Suh. He was another one of those players that just could never quite contain the aggression or whatever it is. Like there's a lot of that in football, but when you start stepping on players after the player, you start chirping like this during an injury, it's going to rub guys the wrong way and you're going to get a reputation in this league of one that you don't really want.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't care about that right now, but it does affect people and it does affect locker rooms. So he should be careful of that. And God forbid he's on the end of an injury himself, but it's just not very classy move there.
It isn't classy whatsoever. I agree with you. I would love to know what he was actually saying in that moment because it would just add fuel to the fire of what has been a weird couple weeks for one Jawan Jennings. One last thing I want to touch on about this game. We were talking about it a little bit while the game was going on. Wyatt Teller going in and out. They were playing Tevin Jenkins a lot in his spot. Wyatt Teller came out at his presser after the game. I don't know if he was actually on the podium or if it was just in the locker room, saying that he knew he was going to go on this snap rotation with Tevin Jenkins. Did that surprise you? Because I feel like, aside from personal fandoms and stuff like that, because I feel like Wyatt Teller is a decently popular O lineman in this Browns fandom, most people looked at Teller as the guy that they might keep to kind of fortify the fort next year, with Joel probably retiring, Posick and Conklin not really making sense, and of course, DeJuan Jones being the only other starter from this year, and he's been hurt every year that he's played. Did that snap rotation surprise you at all?
Yeah. I mean, I texted you immediately the first time he ran off the field, and I said, Wyatt Teller's running off the field. Like, what's going on here? Because I did not know that it was a rotation thing at first. It does surprise me a little bit, and I would be curious what's going on there. Is it to try to protect him from injury? Like, I just want to know more here. But yeah, it did surprise me.
Yeah, it surprises me as well. He said it was a performance-based thing, which, to me, I get it, but the O
Ouch.
line. What did you say? Why did you say ouch?
It's just him coming out and saying that, meaning that coaches had a discussion with him that it's a performance issue.
Yes.
That's rough, man.
It is rough indeed. Wyatt Teller is what a lot of people. I mean, he's a former Pro Bowler for us, so it's interesting that this is the route they went. Joel hasn't had a great year. Posick hasn't had a great year. I'm not saying you got to rotate any of those guys as well. The
You know who
rotation
did
thing.
though? You know who had a great game?
Who's that?
One Trent Williams. And I know, like, it's been years now, but I said we should go after him. We should pay him whatever he wants because he's worth the money. And even though he's getting up there in age, look at how well he performed for San Francisco today compared to our O line. I
Yeah,
mean, you've got to pay for quality.
we do, and I think that'll be a focal point in this offseason for whatever
Has to
quarterback they
be.
decide they're going to try out there in 2026, whether they continue with Shedeur, whether they go draft one, whether we
Oh, they're
have no
definitely
idea.
drafting a guy.
Yeah, well, some
There's no
people
doubt in my
are
mind about that.
holding out hope that there might be a Shador-sized hole to be filled at the quarterback, and what I mean by that is Shador, of course, filling that hole. We'll see. The Browns have plenty of storylines going out of this game, and it'll be interesting to see what they do against another really rough team in the Titans next week. Obviously, they looked pretty well against the Raiders. The Titans are in that same echelon of NFL team. So hopefully this bodes well for the development of the rookies, Shador, the offense, and whatnot. But who knows, man?
Showdown
This is a
versus, Cam Ward too, like,
yeah. Maybe
that'll be a
they'll
fun one.
flex it into a prime time. The two top rookie quarterbacks, perceived at least before the NFL draft this year, put them in a nice 4 p.m. bracket. They won't do that, I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt we'll see that just based on performance.
Right.
I was thinking about that today, how sad I've been that we haven't had any Tony Romo on our calls either, which I don't expect because we're not a good enough team. But Romo and Nance calling games obviously is a lot more fun than whoever we get. We got the decent crew today, but um, it's a bummer for sure.
It is a bummer indeed, but we are onward and upward with what's going on with this season. We are rounding the corner on the 2025 NFL season already, which is crazy to say. There's been plenty of positive, plenty of negative with the Cleveland Browns, and it is going to continue to be an interesting story to watch and unfold. What's next for this team, really?
Yeah, right now it's twofold for me. It's Miles' watch because I really want him to not just break that record, but obliterate it, honestly. And it's Shador watch. What will he continue to do? What offenses will he be able to run here to see what we have? But like I said, I think the Browns are drafting a quarterback come this 2026 draft. I would be shocked if they don't, especially if with it being a strong draft class. And I don't think anybody in the building right now thinks that Shador is the guy.
We'll see. We'll see. There is plenty of paths to still be carved for this team, and really see what happens come that draft time. Obviously, the Browns are not making the playoffs. If you've been sleeping under a rock, they are having a losing season this year. It is confirmed today. They have lost 9 games, but there's still plenty to watch. And your 2 bullet points of Miles and Shedeur are exactly what fans should be continuing to tune in for, because there is plenty of upside going into next year and the rest of this year.
Thank God for Ohio State. I hope they continue to just put on a show because, um, that's what I'm living for right now. Because it's not the Browns.
Fair enough, man.
On that note, the debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you tomorrow.